Hola, buenos días. Soy Nico.
I finally got the message, He didn't love me. He didn't even like me.
Nico, you're dressed all dapper today. Yeah, yeah. I'm basically going out after this, so I wanted to make sure that I get this video done and in a little, sauced up fashion. But before we get started, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me on patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for more exclusive lives, weekly videos, be a part of the podcast, which is on a slow hiatus. Nico, I've been busy with reclaiming my channel. When that actually happened, I decided I'm actually going to start planning other avenues. So I'm actually trying to get into some business ventures. That's what I've been busy with, basically trying to set up my in real life outside of my digital. But let's move forward. Today, we're going to be talking about something I didn't want to have to talk about, Nico. Y'all know I don't run from tea. But this is actually pertaining to someone I've recently became friends with. My last trip to Brazil, his name is Ty Santana. He recently got into it online with BigCMen, I don't know, some old ball white man. Nico, I say it like that because they got into it months ago. And I remember I saw it and I'm like, okay, this is going in the memory bank. I didn't know who Ty was at the time, so I didn't address it, but I'm just like, all right, I have the information if I need it. And now it's come full circle with another conversation about race play. Nico, so I want to specify before we get started, Ty Santana has never done race play. I'm specifying it right now. The information that's come out, people are trying to say because the white man that he was sexually and romantically locked with started to use racial slurs, but even in that connotation, you see when he called racist slurs that they were no longer like involved with each other. This was clear beef, and he was like, that's not cool. It's not like a situation where that had been happening behind the scenes, and this is just finally spilling out into public. So we're going to do a flashback before we get to the current information. Basically, a couple of months ago, Big Man C, I think his name is Corey, him and Ty were allegedly in a slight romance affair outside of his marriage, because Corey is married to some white man whose name begins with L. Nico, it was like a brief talking point in the conversations that were going on. I'm going to insert the name as soon as I, insert the image. Basically, they got into it because they were drawing a boundary line where Ty in the text messages was clearly saying, you're the only person I, cuddle with, I sleep over with, I'm your boy, etc. I'm not a slave. The shit that you're trying to like pull is out of pocket, but clearly I'm showing you that I have prioritized you in a matter that shouldn't have happened because you are a married man and you're going back home to your husband at the end of the day. And the white man was basically saying, how come Ty didn't defend me? And I can't believe when people were calling me racist, he didn't come forward and try to have my back when all I've done was love this boy and treat him like my own and have him at my house and around my friends and husband. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, he didn't defend you because somebody claimed you were racist and you were upset because you had this romantic relationship with a boy half your age. Nico, to my knowledge, because like I said, I do know him, Ty is like early 20s. He's like very early 20s. And Big Man C, if I'm not mistaken, is like in his late 40s. Nico, just based on how he looks, I'm assuming late 40s. So you expecting this young 20-something year old to put their neck on the line because someone else is accusing you of racist tendencies. And then we flash forward to a couple of months in the future, current day, and it's coming out that you're dropping the hard ER. Nico, yes. Text messages came out when Big Man C got into it with another performer who was black. And he suddenly began to name drop Ty and call them both the hard ER. And the performer who was being attacked basically said, Ty must have hurt your feelings when he cut you off, because why are you bringing him up? And he gonna come back with, you both hurt my feelings and I can't believe y'all did this to me. And my thing is, you cannot sit here and cry white sympathy tears to victimize yourself while calling people the hard ER. Like, I got such total whiplash from this dialogue that when I went to the next slide and it was Ty basically saying, if you keep this shit up, I'm going to post all the racist shit you're doing online. Like, I'm getting tired of your shenanigans. And what I will say in that moment, because that's why people are beginning to like start a conversation about race play around him, because he waited so long to address the racism that he was being met with by someone he thought he could be vulnerable with. What I will say is, if you're going to put somebody on blast, you should definitely put them on blast as soon as it happens. Nico, it'll save you the room. It'll save you like but why did you wait? Why did it? Because people usually have to sit down and think about these things. Yes, I might be trivializing their relationship because I'm an outside person looking at all the information they put online, but clearly they cared about each other to some degree. BigCMen C, Corey, whatever his name is, racist. Is allegedly. Let me throw that in there. Even though I see him dropping the hard ER and calling people, what, I can't say any of it. I can't say any of it. But even though I see him doing all these things, I have to say allegedly for legality purposes. So you can tell that this boy clearly felt some kind of connection with this older married man, but after he realized that this wasn't it and he cut it off, there was some form of friction, because honestly, I'm going to take it to that step. A lot of white gay men feel like, as black men, you should be honored that they are taking the time to speak to you, because they feel like they are higher on the social pedestal, even if they are past their prime and not necessarily the most attractive. And I say it like that because I've been in those situations where white men on apps will hit on me, and when I do not reply, Nico, because I don't place whiteness on a social pedestal of beauty, I am everything but a child of God. Suddenly I am no longer attractive and they weren't interested in me anyway, and I'm just a monkey, and I'm just sitting here like, okay girl, whatever. I personally don't care because I never responded, so the conversation ain't going nowhere. You're just throwing slurs. But point to say, I have been in that situation, so I'm not going to just instantly assume that this was always the groundwork going in. But as we see with the information laid out in front of us, how do you guys feel about this situation? How do you feel about Corey, BigCMen C, and his husband? Because the last few text messages that came out were between Ty and his husband, basically saying that Ty was just a flavor of the week and they didn't really care about him and he's not that important. And Ty basically responded with, if your husband ever left you, you wouldn't even be anything, and you're not that great in particular either. How do you feel about this dynamic of older white gay men latching onto young black men, especially in the adult entertainment industry, and basically taking them in, using them as romantic and or sexual partners, and then tossing them aside when they stand up for themselves? Because we've seen this time and time again, and I mean, that also can be a commentary on the trophy wife, archetype that a lot of gay men want to take, where you're basically taken care of, or you're in the company of people that are in different social circles that you're trying to get into, but you're basically under their thumb because of it. I'm not saying that that's their situation, but because at the end of the day, Corey is married, but from what they both said, he was taking care of him, he was sleeping over. I don't know, it's a messy scenario, and I know I might get some pushback for talking about this, but I have to talk about it because people keep asking me about it, and it was a big situation. But once again, I don't believe it's a situation of race play. So I want to reemphasize, in my opinion, I don't believe it's a race play scenario, because Ty has never been the kind of person that seems to be interested in race play. I do believe that he got with an older guy that was using him for nefarious purposes, and once they fell out, the full-on racism just rolled out, because dropping a hard ER not only on him but then also on his associate because he is associates with him, I don't get it. And a lot of people are raising the question, why is BigCMen C or Corey still being lauded in the adult entertainment industry, winning GayVN awards. I personally did not see any nominations for him. I actually don't usually see his content because he's a bit washed up, but in the past he's allegedly gotten these accolades from the Academy that notoriously snubs black performers. So it can be a conversation about prioritizing whiteness in general in the industry rather than race play. Because once again, I do not believe he was tap dancing and cooning buffooning. I'm going to put my foot down on that entirely. Nico, it's not because I worked with him, it's because I actually got time to hang out with him. I didn't catch the cooning and buffooning vibes. I genuinely feel like he was with an older man. The older man, nefarious purposes, racism flipped out. But yes, I will leave the rest up to you with the information at hand, and I will see you guys next time. Woo!